said, whoa, that's a big bald spot. That was not towards you, Tyler. It's, because Kadus is bald. I'm just making a joke about it.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Fusion Podcast. We are your hosts, Drew Calladine,
Malcom, Sampson,
Mohammed,
and Tyler Ewings.
The Fusion Podcast is all about inclusivity, making sure that we create a safe space so that everyone's voice is heard and listened to.
We want to spark conversations around taboo topics to educate ourselves and others and embrace our differences because we are more alike than unalike.
Definitely, and in our podcast we would like to acknowledge a special event being celebrated nationally or even globally. This month is Stroke Awareness Month, otherwise known as Make May Purple. It's aimed to increase awareness of strokes, stroke prevention and treatment, and to help raise funds for much needed research into this condition and support for stroke survivors. As you may know, a stroke happens when the blood supply to your part of the brain is cut off.
Yeah, and there is a quick and effective way of remembering what to do if you suspect someone is having a stroke. Think of the word FAST. Each letter stands for something. F, facial weakness. Can the person smile? A, arm weakness. Can the person raise both arms? S, speech problems. Can the person speak clearly? And T, time to call 999 if they have any of these signs.
Does anyone know anything about strokes?
Honestly, no. I hear about it a lot, but I never actually know what it is. But I did ask about it one time, and apparently there's many ways someone having a stroke. Someone could just be there sitting there, and you couldn't tell anything apart, and they could be having a stroke. Just crazy to me.
I think one thing that I know about strokes is it's more common to happen to older people, I think. Yeah, and that's the most that I know all about it.
I just know that it can slur your speech a bit. That's pretty much the main thing that I know about it.
I remember seeing an advert once. It was there was this man on the bus. I don't really know how to explain it, but there's a man in the bus, and it was the 4 stages FAST. If anyone remembers that, it was a couple of years ago. No.
We are going to include a few links that will direct you to more information on stroke awareness.
But before we introduce our guests, I just wanted to explain about a production that I'm part of that tackles with mental health. It's part of the Barnstaple Fringe Festival, which will be taking place from the 22nd of June up until the 25th of June. The production is written by one of our students here at Lipson called Ben Edwards. The production is called Deep Breaths and Toxin. It's about adolescence, anxiety and friendship, which follows 2 struggling teenagers who attend the mental health service camp. But due to budget cuts, the service has been replaced by AIs. Tickets will go on sale on the Barnstaple Fringe Festival's website on June 1st, so I hope to see you all there. And also, don't forget, Speak Now by Taylor Swift is releasing July 7th.
I might listen to it.
You should.
Sure.
Love Taylor.
Well, I just gotta say, I'm really excited about this episode because we have the privilege of interviewing a special guest from the Argyle Community Trust. He is a dancer, choreographer, a youth worker, mentor, and an advocate for mental health and young people. Kadus Smith, welcome to the Fusion Podcast.
Hey! Thank you very much for having me.
We are happy to have you. For the people listening who may not know who you are or the organisation you're from, can you give us a little introduction of yourself?
Yes, I'm not good at introductions, so I will try and ramble through this. But before I start, I just want to say that this setup is absolutely amazing. When I came into the building today, there was a full team of young people that was leading the show. So well done to this. I'm very grateful to be a part of this.
Yes.
So to introduce myself, yes. So my name is Kadus Smith. I work for Argyle Community Trust, as you've just said. My role really, I work with a lot of young people across the city from different backgrounds, helping to intervene to stop them from getting involved in criminal activity. So I work very closely with the police, but I'm also a dancer. We have a studio based in Stonehouse as well. So I work with various young people putting on shows across the city as well. So that's the main thing for me.
What type of dance?
Ooh, good question. I don't know myself sometimes, but no, mainly hip hop, contemporary, But movement, I think as I've gotten older, I think I start to kind of look at movement a bit more carefully rather than a particular style.
Why don't you get a little more like detailed about your profession so we know more about it?
For sure. So I'm a targeted youth mentor. So with that is we run a program called Breaking the Cycle, which is here in the city. So I work very closely with the young offending team in the police. And with that, we work with young people who may have been highlighted, getting involved in ASB, problems in school. And then the program that they'll be a part of would be finding out ways for them to stop. So that can be anything. I cook, we do walk and talks, play football, box, many different activities to help them find other ways to stay out of trouble.
That sounds really fun, but one important question which can really which we can all tell if you do enjoy it or not is, do you enjoy getting out of bed to go to work?
Well, I don't really enjoy getting out of bed in general, to be honest with you, no. No, I do. This is something that I'm very passionate about. I've been working with young people for, I'd say about 12 to 13 years now. And I think it's very important that this is done. It is something that I needed when I was growing up. So it's something that I'm very passionate about.
What encouraged you to take up this profession?
So when I was in year 10,
that's a while back.
Yes, a while back. Yes, I am old, so that's another point of But yeah, no. When I was in year 10, there was a teacher called Mr. Hassan who I looked up to very much. Growing up, I was moving around quite a lot, and I didn't have a lot of positive role models in my life. So because of that, I was getting myself into a bit of trouble here and there. And I'll always remember a conversation I had with a teacher called Mr. Hassan, who I always thought didn't like me. Until we had a very, very important conversation where he was highlighting some things that I was getting wrong. And because of that, he paid a very big interest in me. And that's something that's always stuck with me through my life. And I realized that, it's very important for adults or professionals to be involved in this space, because young people definitely need positive role models in their lives.
What is the best thing about your job?
No day is different. Right? No day's the same. Sorry, my bad. No day's the same. No day's the same. So there's times, for example, like I've said, I could be cooking. There's times where we can be boxing. There's times where conversations can pop up which I may not have the answer for. So it's up to me to try and find the answer. So I'm actually learning a lot within the job as well. So yeah, there's always something happening. I think working with young people, everything is moving at such a high, fast pace that, it's up for me to make sure that I'm doing what I can to keep up.
All right. Well, before we get carried away, we like to start off the podcast with an icebreaker segment. So I have a deck of cards, and on each one, there is a question, a phrase, or a word. Our special guest chooses one and shares their opinion on it. Kadus, would you like to do the honors of picking from the deck?
Yes. Let's pretend it's a drum roll. Okay. Do you have a role model and why? Okay, well, I've also mentioned Mr. Hassan, didn't I? So that was my first role model. But my first and most important role model is my mum.
She better be. Love mums.
Yes, big up mums. Why? Because she's always someone that I've kind of wanted to base all the positive parts of myself on. I think that she's a very strong but also a very sensitive human being. And because of that, she's actually helped me to express my emotions in a clear way. So big up Mama Smith. She's probably the first and biggest role model for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Drew?
Oh, I'm not entirely sure who my role model would be. It's a hard question for me, because I guess there's a few people that could be my role model, like my parents obviously could be my role model. My mum, she was like a nurse for a while and that, and she's quite smart, and she's also really good at art. I don't understand, I'm terrible at art, haven't inherited that. And then there's also my dad, so he would be a role model because he's the one who kind of like encourages me to kind of like be a bit more braver and do stuff I wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
And that, also role model, Drew Barrymore, great actress.
Yeah.
That's what I'm named after, said in the last episode.
I feel like I'm just going to be repeating myself. I've already said Adele, Taylor Swift, Mimi Webb, all them. I've said it before, I've repeated, but like musicians, they're like, sometimes you look up to them and it's like maybe the lyrics or what they say or like the advocate of their doing, like what they support. It's like you see them and you're like, yes, they may be famous, but they're not short from where I am now, and I could be like that when I grow up.
Yes. My role model, I don't have anyone I really look up to, but and actually, never mind, I just remembered. My drama teacher is like literally amazing.
Who's your drama teacher?
Miss Admira, she's amazing. She's my favorite teacher of all time. She's always so nice, and I love the warm-ups, and she always includes everyone, which I like. But my most important person I care about definitely has to be my mom. She always lets me cry when I want to. She gives the best hugs, and she's just nice overall. How about you, Malcom?
I think the only role model I have is my mum, because she's caring, and I kind of want to have she's strong, and I want to take a few things that she has when I'm older.
That's amazing.
Okay, that was fun, but today's episode is all about mental health awareness, and interestingly, May also marks the beginning of Mental Health Awareness Week. As a group of hosts and guests, I am sure we all experience life differently, and that affects how we interact with people every day. Kadus, how important is mental health awareness to you?
Very important, very important. I always like to think of mental health as health in general. I think that's something that we should all just be very, very mindful of in general. So, if there are times where we're not feeling the best, it does have an effect on our day-to-day. And not just mentally, but also physically too. So I think it's something that we should all kind of pay attention to and find out how we can actually figure out that maze out individually, but collectively as well.
You seem to work with a lot of young people. What's a common mental health issue in young people that's not often talked about?
So this is a tricky one, because as much as the conversation has progressed, I still think that there's still a lot of stigma around mental health when we talk about things such as bipolar, schizophrenia. I don't think those are spoken about as openly as your main ones, such as anxiety and depression.
Yes.
There's one thing that's common within schools that I see a lot of, which is ADHD, and I don't think that is treated as well as it should be, in terms of just the patience that surrounds it. But there's another thing as well, which is a little bit more darker, but it's something that I've experienced a lot, which is PTSD. We don't really talk about stuff that happens within the homes, and there's a lot of things that young people would witness, but they may not know exactly how to process it, which then comes across negatively within schools. So I think that's probably one of the things I would say.
Now that we're talking about negativity, what's the best way to deal with rejection of any sort?
Yeah, this is rejection is a very, very healthy thing. And I think that we also need to understand with rejection, and the way that I see it is everyone has the right to choose, and everyone has the right to say no and to say if it's not for them. So when we can understand that, and we also understand that we're not in control, then we should also understand that if it's not for us, then that's fine, because there's also going to be other opportunities elsewhere. And I think this is actually a very important lesson that a lot of young people need to know in general, because if it's not dealt with when you're young, it can have some more serious effects when you're older. That rejection is a very natural part of life, and that sometimes, things don't work out for you, then it's good, because that means there's a better thing around the corner.
So this question was actually sent in by a listener called Swada, and I just wanted to ask, how can they comfort and support a friend in need who may not be feeling okay?
Very good question. The way that I would answer that is simply to try to understand how your friend would actually want to be listened to. There's a lot of times where I know if I'm going through something, a lot of times I don't want a solution. I just want someone to listen.
Yeah.
So whoever your friend is, you want to make sure that you know, you could ask, you know, do you want me to give you an answer, or do you want me just to kind of hold space for you? And, you know, once you know how your friend wants to be treated or spoken to or listened to in that time, I think that would be the best solution. So, what do you think? I just want to find out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I was just thinking, like, obviously, yeah, asking you, because you want to ask and know how they're feeling. You don't want to just, like, bombard them, because everyone reacts differently, and it's like, be there for them, like, check up on them, like, are you okay? How do you want me to do anything? Do you want me to come round for a cup of tea? You know, just the small things can actually help.
100%.
Yeah, I definitely prefer if they just kind of listen, because I've talked about my problems to a lot of people, and sometimes like, well, maybe they just did this, and it kind of just brings my mood down. I go, oh wait, I'm busy, even though I'm not, because I just don't feel like talking to them about my problems anymore, because I don't want people to, like, I don't know, find answers or anything. I like it when they just listen and they understand what I'm going through, basically.
No, I agree. I think, you know, everyone wants to be seen, right?
Yeah.
You all want to be seen, you want to be heard. And sometimes if someone is just too quick to give you a solution, they're not actually listening to what the actual issue is.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, we've been talking about how to give support, but where can you find actual support if you are, I don't know, your friend's not helping you, or you're not, like, you haven't told anyone about it and you don't know who to tell yet? Where would you, or who would you support? Like, do you, I don't know how to say it. Who would you recommend?
Referrals.
That's what I was referring to.
I hear you. There's many different ways. One thing that I will say is always try to find a local organisation. So, you know, with you lot being in school, I would speak to someone within your pastoral team, because there'll be links within the city. But within your local communities, I would also go into your youth centres, speak to the youth workers there, because then they would have links. Online, there's an organisation called Mind, which is also another good organisation to use. So there's different spaces, different spaces. See that, we got there in the end. But what I would say is to kind of really lean into your local professionals, so schools, youth centres would be a good place to start.
You seem to have quite a mentally demanding job. How do you deal with the everyday pressures that come with that job role?
Yeah, very good question. I will be very transparent with you. It's ups and downs. There's some days I handle it better than others. And I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is I've just allowed myself to be human. Because I think, you know, when you're in these positions, you almost think that you always have to be on top of your game 24/7. It's just not possible. So the moment that I understood that, it kind of allowed me to deal with it a lot better. So I think for me, it's just, you know, just trying to find the moments where there's the small W's or even the big W's, and just making sure that I hold a bit of space for myself.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to take a break from things and switch off?
Do that. Exactly that. And be unapologetic about it as well. Right? I think, communicate, because at the end of the day, it's, you know, we want to make sure that people know what's going on, but communicate that and be brave enough just to switch off if you can. Put your phone on silent. If there's something that you enjoy doing, like a hobby, then do it. Whatever you can do to try and get your mind off it, then do it, yeah.
I was gonna add on to that, like, with a question. Like, how would you recommend us taking a break? Because some people don't have, like, as much access to things as other people. Maybe you're dealing with things at home, or, like, I don't know, at school, and you can't talk about it, and you don't want to tell anyone about it or something. You don't want to be asked questions. How would you recommend, like, doing it at home or something?
Yeah, so that's a bit of a tricky one, because, you know, you'd have to. First and foremost, it would be a decision that you'd have to make, right? Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people wouldn't know if something's not going on if you're not telling that person, right? So I think for me, it would be to find out if you do have someone within your community, or a friend, or an individual, or even a professional that you may have a little bit of a relationship with, right? Yeah. And then from there, you know, it's just about asking to get signposted. There's a lot of organisations in Plymouth that can help. So, I mean, first and foremost, it's just about being brave enough to speak to somebody, and once you do, you know, being signposted.
All right, thank you. And finally, you don't have to answer this, it's quite a personal question, but how is your mental health right now?
That's fine. I love these kind of questions. My mental health is good right now. Very good right now. Very, very, very good right now. But like I said before, I'm also human. So there are days when my mental health isn't the best, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I think everyone here we've had some bad mental health days.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah. But we also have some good ones too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that's just the whole idea of life, right? Is ups and downs, peaks and troughs, as they say. So, I think it's very important for us just to be patient with ourselves, and for us just to understand that, in order for us to really appreciate the highs, we also have to understand what the lows are as well.
It's not really a question, but it's like a statement. Like, I find, like, say if I'm having a bad day, like writing or like just like listening to music can really help, and like it's very beneficial.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a therapeutic thing. I really enjoy listen to music and then doing chores or like cleaning my room. I often don't like it and I'm just like really lazy, but then sometimes when I'm just kind of left alone and not like cleaning, like for example washing dishes or like wiping things, I just kind of organizing things back into their place. It's kind of like it just makes everything look so much clean after. You just feel so proud about it.
Yeah, actually, just so even going back in terms of how someone can improve their mental health, that's actually a really good point that you've made about finding your own therapy, is what I like to say. So even if it's small things that you enjoy doing, then do it. Like a clean room could do so much for your mental health. If your space is clean, then you tend to operate a lot better. So any small thing that you can do, it may not be small though, right? It may seem small when you say it, but when you do it, it actually has a very big impact. So really pay attention to that, because that's actually very important. Find your own therapy for sure.
And I think one thing that could help a category of mental health is, say if you're feeling down, it's definitely great to compliment people, because once you do compliment people, you see that you've made someone happy, and then that might lift your...
Yeah, definitely.
Do you compliment yourself?
I would say that I'm definitely I can be really nice. I feel like I can be I'm welcoming.
Okay, I hear. I saw people shaking their heads there. So I would like to ask, because that's a very important thing. I'm very big on that. I like to give people compliments. I think it's important. But I think it's also very important as well that we practice complimenting ourselves. So this is something that I practice. When I look in the mirror or just in general, I try to speak highly of myself, because I used to speak so lowly of myself for a very long time. And you realise that it can actually have an effect. So everyone here, if obviously you can share. I know that's a very personal thing, but do you compliment yourselves? Don't you compliment yourselves? We can start with you.
I don't really compliment myself much. I more compliment other people. I mean, sometimes I'll speak highly of myself, like when around my friends and that, and I'll act like really confident and speak really highly of myself and that. And basically act like I'm the best person in the world, but at home, really, I'm kind of a bit like, yeah, that's all lies.
Okay.
I don't really compliment myself much.
Okay. Hey, we'll come back to that. I hear. 100%.
I do the exact same thing. Like, if you know me, you know I'm all hiya love. That's me. But sometimes when I go home, I'm like, no. It's like, everyone has their insecurities, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm going to say it like the back of my head, I've got a massive bald spot. That's why I don't really like it.
Whoa, that's a pretty big bald spot there.
And I'm like, it's just affecting, like, sometimes, like, when you look at yourself, you're like, no, and, like, also, like, social media, that can, like, have an effect, because, like, you see, like, all these, like, celebrities, like, look in a certain way, and then that draws you back to, I want to look like that, but I don't. And sometimes it can be like fake what they post on social media, but sometimes you know it's fake, but you want to be that, if you understand.
I feel like sometimes it's like, say, I definitely compliment my skills most of all, because say if I could be playing a game and I've done really well at it, or I could be doing something that I really like, and I could be like, I'm really improving. I like what I've done here, or sometimes I'd just be walking. I'd be walking past my room and I'd just see the mirror, and when I look at it, I'll be like, oh, I look good, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's how I say it.
It's just that it can really depend on moods, because if you're in a bad mood, I don't think you're gonna I wouldn't expect myself to be like, oh, I look good, because I'm kind of just not in the mood. But if I'm really happy, I'll be like, oh, I'll look in the mirror and be like, oh, I like my hair, or something like that.
I hear you. Yeah.
Okay,
So-
I want to say something, but first of all, when I said, "Whoa, that's a big ball spot," that was not towards you, Tyler. It's because Kadus is bald. I'm just making a joke about it.
For anyone who hasn't seen it, I took my hat off to reveal my bald head. So that was what it was.
So since we're talking how it seems like a lot of us don't have a lot of confidence, how about we all just go around in an anti-clockwise thing, starting from Tyler, and give ourselves one compliment.
What, start from me?
Yeah.
I love your hair today, my love. It's actually quite alright, to be honest.
I like my personality.
I like my personality and my confidence. I mean, some of people say I'm too confident and intimidating. I have been called by my friends in the changing room because sometimes as a joke I will flex my muscles. And to me, I just think, they're not even speed bumps. But then all my friends are kind of just like, what?
I like my eyes.
Ooh, okay.
Your turn. Your turn, Kadus.
What would I say? I am passionate. I like that I'm very passionate about things. Sometimes people think, why are you passionate about that? It's very random, but I'm just passionate about things, and I like that about me.
I think my favorite thing about you is definitely your hair.
Thank you.
Really long. I'm really jealous of it. Got my hair recently on her back now. I'm literally so jealous.
Thank you.
I have a quote. I can't remember who said it, or I probably just made it up. But how can someone love you if you can't love yourself?
Oh my god. Wow.
That's good.
Wow.
One thing that I would challenge everyone to do is when you go home, write 5 things that you like about yourself.
On that note, we're going to move on into a lighter segment of the show. Our 30-second rapid fire, this or that. I'm going to read out 2 contrasting things and you will tell us which one you prefer. Kadus, because you are a guest, you will take part in this challenge. Are you ready?
No pressure.
The time
I'm ready.
starts now. Jumper or hoodie?
Hoodie.
Sun or moon?
Moon.
Day or night?
Night.
PC or laptop?
Laptop.
Novella or short story?
Short story.
TV series or film?
Ooh, film.
City or small village?
Ooh, small village.
Fiction or non-fiction?
I don't really. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say non-fiction.
On demand or satellite TV?
On demand, I guess.
Orange or apple juice?
Ooh, that's a good one. Apple juice.
Okay, the time's up.
I want to change my answer though. I would say big city. Actually, no, it depends. Okay, I'm going to give my answer.
Yeah, there's something you said why I definitely pick fiction over non-fiction. Non-fiction can be so boring sometimes.
I know we've gone past it, but I just want to say pop or rock. I just had that in my head for some reason.
Pop or rock?
Pop, what's that? What is that?
Pop music or rock?
Oh.
Pop.
I'd say rock music. I don't know. Yeah, rock music. I'd say.
Why though? But why?
Because I'm just thinking about my favorite band. And
that definitely makes
What is your
sense.
favourite
Yeah.
band?
Bombay Bicycle Club.
Never heard of them.
Yes.
No idea.
Is it old people stuff?
I guess. Well, I wouldn't say old people stuff. I think, they're still releasing music.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Okay, so now to conclude the podcast, we want to end with the question, what is your Fusion takeaway from this episode?
The importance and the power of community. And this is what I see when we have a group of young people that are passionate about something and they are willing to organize themselves, and amazing things can happen. So my takeaway is that, you know, if you have a group of people that want to get something done, then it will get done. So again, thank you for having me a part of this. I think I'm inspired. I think it's amazing. I think more of these conversations need to happen. And I've learned a lot today as well.
Definitely.
So thank you.
I like this conversation. It's not talked about much, you know. People think about it, but I don't really hear about it a lot in conversation. So I liked it. We went in depth about it.
Thank you.
I think my takeaway is that is if you're in a bad mood or you're just put down, it's like it can like really help to compliment or talk to someone about it, because you never know if they can either cheer you up or help you in any type of way if they know like the situation that you're in and they've been through it.
So talk to somebody.
Yeah,
it's important.
I think my fusion takeaway is just sometimes just take a break, you know, like switch off, have a moment yourself, but also communicate, like do some things you enjoy. Like, I don't know, if it's like writing how you feel, like a burn book. Has anyone seen Mean Girls? They have the burn book. Anyone?
Nope.
Where they write who they don't like. Don't do that, but like write about how you're feeling. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
and you don't have to share it, just put it away. So like relieves like stress and anxieties.
I've got a journal. I'm big on journaling. So yeah, 100%.
I've just got a random diary. It's not even like proper. I just like write a day and then write my thoughts. Like if there's something on my mind, just to get out. I mean, it's called like my random diary, and then the subtitle on notes is I have no idea what to do. I'm so confused. So it's all my like everything that I find confusing or I'm struggling with, and that I write it down. Although there is stuff like I enjoy, I write down on that. Although sometimes to get stuff out, I turn it into lyrics and write songs. Try and put music to it.
Amazing. That's really good. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't have much of a what do you call it? A takeaway.
We're not talking about fast food. That was last week.
Oh my god. Okay. I was thinking of something. I was like, when I'm upset, I don't have a journal. Journals don't really help me. I kind of just like to sleep away.
Yeah.
You know, there my social batteries are now. Goodbye.
Should have a nap. I'm big on naps.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I've been yawning all day. It's not because of this podcast. I love the podcast. I don't know why. I went to sleep and now I just woke up, I was yawning. I'm so glad I did not yawn. Oh my god, but I'm tired, so I'm going to go home, have a nap, cup of tea, maybe even a bath. Who knows?
Ooh.
You never know. Face mask, maybe.
Face mask too? Okay, alright.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning into the Fusion Podcast. We have been Drew,
Tyler,
Malcom,
V.
and a special thanks to our guest, Kadus Smith. See you in the next episode. Bye.
bye, hello.
Bye.
Love you.